About that. Well, first question, why can't marriage be allowed with two men or two women? That question got me.
Yeah. So, I mean, allowed and what it is are two different things. So again, just strictly from what marriage has always been is the idea of two separate parts coming in a union to be able to have, hopefully, a lifelong partnership to raise kids, adopt kids, or have kids, and to become better versions of themselves. It is the attraction of opposites. And so if you want to redefine marriage, that's fine. That's your contention. But I take a classical view of marriage.
Okay, I've got to push on Charlie here. We did not make up marriage. That's the thing. God himself made up marriage. So we can't redefine, just like we can't redefine gravity. We can't redefine anything else because this is how God made it. So if you want to say two guys living together, doing whatever, if you want to give them that, you do that. But it's not marriage by default. And this is, again, one of those areas where I feel like Charlie, again, I'm not y'all know I'm here. I'm rocking with Charlie Kirk. 98.3% of the time I'm rocking with him. But one of these problems I feel like Charlie Kirk did not bring to bear is that the scriptures actually say what the purpose of marriage is. The purpose of marriage is a visual representation of Christ's relationship to the church. So we can't redefine that. That's why he says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. So those are things that come from, that's why we can't redefine those. So that would be my only pushback, if you will. I think in other places, I know he's talked about it, but I think he should just point out like, hey, this is not something that man has made up. The book actually gives us the definition. Therefore, that's how we rock. But that's it. And again, I'm just trying to find something to disagree with.
Based on, like, what is that based on what? The Bible?
The natural law.
Is that the Bible?
Well, natural law is separate than the Bible, but it's harmonious.
See, it's not natural law. It is Bible. Now she's trying to go somewhere. I haven't watched this, so I know where she's trying to go to. I know exactly what she's going to do. I know exactly what she's going to do. She's going to bring up the outliers in the Bible. That's what she's trying to get him to do. And maybe that's why he didn't bring up the Bible. Maybe that's it. So, okay, let's see. Don't stop me
with the Bible. That's correct.
Okay.
Because what would you say? What is the purpose of marriage?
Marriage is like, I love you, you love me. Let's
got it. So
let's get together.
Can a 25-year-old marry an 8-year-old?
No.
Why?
Because that 8-year-old is not ready. Like, they
got it. So at some point, so then let's build out your definition more then. Mm-hmm. Love each other, but also what? What is the purpose? What is the destination of marriage?
We are two adults. We love each other.
Fair enough. Okay, we love each other. End of story.
Well, let's give me another thing and maybe I'll add to it.
Okay, but is that it? Is it about union, partnership, friendship?
I think it's just like, let's get our taxes good. Like, let's just get married. Like, I don't think there needs to be some big crazy reason.
I'm not attacking you. I think marriage is holy, and by holy I don't just mean in a religious sense. Holy means separate, meaning it should be elevated, it should be celebrated. It's something that is so above the rest, and you just think it's like a tax advantage. And it's fine, because actually most Americans agree with you.
Yeah.
I think marriage is something where we should drop everything. Like, wow, two separate parts have just made a lifelong covenant with one another to learn about the other and to grow with each other, and it's difficult. And I think that we've lost that.
I mean, I'm Jewish, and like in Judaism, there's the when you get married, the religious marriage, and then there's the government marriage. Like, you have to get married twice, basically. So I think what you're talking about is probably the religious marriage, like with a priest. I'm talking about governmental marriage.
I'm even talking about government. I'm just saying traditionally our governmental marriage, again, I'm in the vast minority of opinion in the country, this has been the classical view that it's a man and a woman coming together in something sacred and something holy or elevated. Again, that's not...
I would say that's just a Christian marriage.
It's not necessarily Christian. In Judaism, in traditional rabbinical Judaism, Orthodox, homosexual marriage is not recognized.
And there are atheists who get married. I mean, I don't understand. Y'all know that I'm a deacon, and part of the responsibilities of a deacon is we give approval to use our church. And we've had people who are not Christians who want to use our church to have a wedding. And they want the traditional wedding setup. And it's a man and a woman. Like, what are you talking about? I don't get where she's getting this from.
That is true.
So it's not Christian. In Islam, homosexual marriage is not recognized.
Okay.
So it's not just Christian.
Okay.
So it's Abrahamic.
Abrahamic.
All right, we agree.
Why do we care if there's no father? I grew up without a father. I feel like I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. I'm in college. Like, why are we so towards the father? Why does he need to be there so much?
So just try to answer my question for me. Do you think what kind of is there any time, and you're being very vulnerable, and I appreciate that, when you were growing up, and maybe not, where you said, I wish I had a dad around?
My mom says I did wish for that once at a wishing well, but
again, and I'm not trying to, if I were here, I don't know how I would answer. I'm getting 100 questions from college students, and I'm like a goldfish in a bowl. I can't say that I would answer all these questions so differently, but I would ask, like, what's the purpose? Because I would go back to my original question, my answer to the question about marriage. It's God's bringing a man and a woman together. There's a role that the man plays in the marriage. There's a role that the woman plays in the marriage. And then later on, they'll play in the actual upbringing of children. So if you don't have a man there, you are going to be off balance to some degree, shape, or form. You can't tell me that having a loving husband, a loving wife, married together, committed to one another, there's no value than just having a mom or just having a dad. You can't tell me that. You just can't. So I really wish he could bring it back to that, but let's go.
My mom was great. She supported me, provided me.
Sure. No, I'm not. It's not a knock on single moms.
Right.
But was there ever a time maybe where a more masculine figure would have been helpful?
I can't really, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Like, can you give me an example of when a masculine figure would be helpful in my life?
When a boyfriend might have broke up with you and you didn't want to talk to your mom because she just didn't get it, and you wanted a strong, stable man to say you're beautiful.
I
don't think she's being honest. And I think this is a great question. Shelby said right here, was it easier or harder for your mom? And you all know I told the joke a couple weeks ago. My wife called me and said, hey, I got a flat tire at work. My car is here. And that's it. That's all she said. And then when she talked to me again, I was driving home in her car, bringing it back. And I left my car at her job so that tomorrow she would have me. And again, we worked it out. So I think pointing out to this young lady, like, hey, did you have that situation? Did your mom ever have the tough spot like that where she had a flat tire on the side of the road? She ran out of gas. Something went south and she needed your dad or needed a man to come and she didn't have it, didn't have him. Do you think that was easier or worse for her? Yeah, like it. And again, I just think that we need to drive that point home. The value of dads in the home, committed in marriage to their wives, bringing up children. We need to make marriages normal again. Husband and wife marriage normal again.
No, if my father was like, you're beautiful, that'd be cool. But like, if my mom was also like, you're beautiful, I don't really see a difference between like my mom saying it and my father saying it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't see the world that way. Because there's being a father to a daughter, there's a very unique bond between a father and a daughter where you fall in love again, but not romantic love. You fall in a different type of Greek love, which is called storge, which is a father-daughter love, where you have such affection for this incredible being. And your task is to shepherd that vulnerable, innocent girl through life all the way up until the marriage aisle, to kind of connect the two topics together, right?
Wow.
Where then you hand it off to another man because women are worthy of protection.
So you're saying like there has to be a man in the woman's life. The woman can't be like,
hey, I just want to tell you that I love you. I think you're amazing. And you're hilarious. I just want to tell you that. Okay. She laughed at me and walked away.
alone.
No, there are exceptions, but it is a beautiful ideal. And when that ideal falls apart, now let's talk about the technical side. In the Black community, when fathers are no longer around, crime goes up, poverty goes up, because you'll understand this less. And a man in the audience who grew up without a father will totally get this. If it's just a mom in the house, the dad should come in and discipline the 14-year-old for acting like a brat. The dad comes in and he says, stop doing this. You need to be able to outrank the 14-year-old brat with another masculine figure.
But don't you think that like there's a reason
again,
that
I'm not disagreeing with Charlie, but I said these are because he says the ideal. No, it's not the ideal. It's what the design is. It's not just I have an ideal for my car. The manufacturer had a vision for the vehicle. I can't make it a boat. My ideal is to get the car to float on water. Well, that's silliness, Jason. I want it to drive upside down. That's dumb, Jason. It's not going to happen. The ideal can't usurp the vision of the designer, and that's the problem. Okay, let's go. This is a portion of Black people felt Charlie was racist every time he talks about issues in the community. Many people call him racist. Okay, let me hear what he's saying. Let me hear. Okay, let me back up a little smidgen. Thank you, Keisha. I actually was not paying attention like that, so let me back up a little bit. I might have went too far.
All the way up until the marriage aisle to kind of connect the two topics together, right?
Wow.
Where then you hand it off to another man because women are worthy of protection.
So you're saying like there has to be a man in the woman's life.
Not
the
has
woman
to.
can't be
Not-
like alone.
No, there are exceptions, but it is a beautiful ideal. And when that ideal falls apart, now let's talk about the technical side. In the Black community, when fathers are no longer around, crime goes up, poverty goes up, because you'll understand this less. And a man in the audience who grew up without a father will totally get this. If it's just a mom in the house, the dad should come in and discipline the 14-year-old for acting like a brat. The dad comes in and he says, stop doing this. You need to be able to outrank the 14-year-old brat with another masculine figure.
But don't you think that like there?
Okay, so let me see right here. Okay, I think what he said. Shout out to Keisha right here, and maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention. But this is maybe we'll find him actually speaking with a Black person. What he said wasn't a lie, though. What he said was not a lie at all. I think one of the problems that we have is that we love to scapegoat somebody, and rather than go ahead and deal with the issue at hand. Charlie Kirk was a racist, but what he said was right. You know, we have entirely too many Black boys raised by Black women. They're raised without a father. That's just it. You can't tell me that the society is better, and the only reason things are bad is because a racist, quote unquote, said it. Like, I'm sorry, you help me understand that. The problem is too many of them are born outside of wedlock. That's it. We can't beat those charges. Okay, let's go.
There's a reason that a lot of the Black community doesn't have a father, and it's because of systemic racism. It's
there we go. I knew it.
Like
we're always putting these things outside of ourselves. Those are choices that they made. My sister has 4 children, and none of them have the same dad. And there's nothing to do with systemic anything. She made horrible choices. Terrible choices. That has nothing to do with anything systemic except her systemic bad decision making. That's it. In the day. Now, by God's grace, many of her children are doing pretty well, all things being considered. But it's in spite of. But again, none of that has to do with racism. So is there systemic racism that I'm married to my wife and my kids are both our children? And these are the only children that we have? Is that systemic something? Where's the systemic in that? Is the systemic making better decisions? That's it. And for the highly melanated crew, we just keep making excuses for not making good decisions. That's it. We don't want to just admit we make bad decisions. We made bad decisions. We shouldn't have done this. This should not have been the case, but we allowed it to be the case, and we allowed it to become the norm, and there we go. Like, where's the systemic in that. It's always when systemic racism only enters the chat when it can be used as a excuse for bad decision making. It's never systemic racism that caused me to work a good job. It's never systemic racism that caused me to make sure my yard is nice and manicured up front. It's never that. It's always systemic racism when I go out and get a speeding ticket because I'm doing 100 and a 35. It's always systemic racism when I make bad decisions, but never the other way around. Systemic racism only seems to enter the chat when I need a good excuse. But hey, just seems something interesting.
Men are more likely to be in prison.
Oh yeah, so why do people go to prison?
For like a lot of the time, it's because they're in poverty and they have no other way to get.
Okay,
so only poor people go to jail. Like she was not, ma'am, please go have a seat. So now poor people are criminals. Okay.
Commit crimes
Because
Yeah, but so wait, so wait.
why do they
So wait, if you're
commit crimes?
So in poverty, we should give excuses for committing crimes?
Yes, because if they have no
murder?
I did not say murder. I'm saying like
crimes.
if someone is stealing something because they have no money and there's no jobs.
That's so interesting. So you think most crimes are crimes of necessity in the Black community?
I'm not saying most.
So like gangbanging is like a crime of necessity?
That I literally never said that. I'm saying,
but
like,
you're making an argument of crimes of necessity. Like they're so hungry they can't handle it.
I'm talking about like crime that has to do with like getting food, getting stuff that you need to live.
Right, but
who's doing that? This woman is funny because she's showing her abject racism and belief that Black people steal. Like this is crazy work. This is some crazy work right here. Girl, go have a seat. Let's go.
Have food stamps for anyone that needs it. So that doesn't exist. We have subsidized housing for anyone that needs it. So that doesn't exist. We have free healthcare for any poor person that wants it, called Medicaid. That doesn't exist. We also have welfare, cash for anyone that wants it. So that doesn't exist. So what is it they're missing that they need to go? Sorry about that.
Well, the food, like a lot of food stamps might not cover all of what they need. And also housing is like, there's not unlimited housing. A lot of people who are unhoused have to like go to shelters and then they get kicked out of shelters because there's a mandatory stay limit. So it's not like you just get a house.
It's not a stuff thing though, right? It's like if you need stuff, there's also tons of charities out there that can provide assistance. Churches, you will not go hungry in this country. You will not starve in this country.
Yes, you will.
We have an obesity problem. We have an obesity problem, not a starvation problem in this country.
What are you talking about?
In State Street, if anyone...
There's not one person in this group. Now, I know they're on college campus, but there's not one person in this group that looks underfed. I'm sorry. I think he's right on the money. And she's just making, this is a very bad look for her.
Those people went to the local Episcopalian church or Methodist church, they will get fed. I guarantee it. If they go to a local food shelter, they will get fed.
Okay, but I'm talking, housing.
For housing. If we have Section 8 subsidized housing in this country, right? If you want to have a roof over your head, you can have a roof over your head.
With like thousands of rules and you can't do
it. Yes, of course. Yes. I mean, it's not ideal, but the point is this. So let's just go back to the crime and necessity, right? Mm-hmm. So why do people commit crimes?
I'm not saying why all people commit crimes. I'm saying there are people who commit crimes because they have no other choice.
Got it. So why is it that other people that are as poor as they are in separate racial groups don't commit crimes at the same rates? For example, Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit over 50% of the crimes. Why is that?
Black people, I would say, not Blacks.
Okay,
but...
it's not. I can say white, so you wouldn't care.
So anyway,
hold on. Right? I can say Hispanics, you wouldn't care. So don't police my language.
But whatever. I'm not policing your language. I'm just saying I would say Black
people. Fair
people.
enough. But the insinuation is that I'm being racist. But that's fine.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Yeah, but so Black Americans are 13% of the population and commit anywhere between 50 to 56% of murders, crimes, carjackings. Why is that?
Well, what percentage of the white population is living in the same level of poverty?
Got it. So there's twice as.
So now she's saying every Black person lives in poverty. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Just stop. Answer the man's question. Why does every Black person have to be in poverty? That's the part. That's where she just literally jumped over that, hopscotched right over that.
many white Americans in poverty as black Americans. Not the same percentage, but still, if you look at white Americans in poverty, they commit far less crimes than black Americans in poverty. Why is that?
Maybe it's because when you're in a store, like they follow black people and they don't follow white people.
What about murder?
Rural?
No, but why is it that, like, just saying murder, why is it that black people commit so many more murders? Like, that's not, you're being followed in a store and you commit more murders?
Yeah.
You're making the rule, or I'll get to you in a sec, but
okay.
It's not a good argument. But let me just go back to one thing you said. Systemic racism, right? So the idea of systemic is that it's within our laws.
Mm-hmm.
There are some black Americans here listening. What can you as a white American do that the black American cannot do?
Let's see. I could go into a store and not get followed. The police, I
go to stores all the time and I've never been followed. And matter of fact, I'm extra because I take my own grocery bag. I take my own grocery bag into the store, and there's certain grocery stores I go to, and they all know me because I have this red grocery bag. It looks like a picnic basket, and I put stuff in there all the time. I just put stuff in there. I walk around the store, putting stuff in there, and nobody's ever followed me. Never. And you know why? Because I don't be stealing. And they know me. Jason come in here, put stuff in his little bag, his little basket, and he's going to take everything out the little basket and ring it up. If I go to the self-checker, he's going to put everything on the belt. He's going to ring it up. I don't be stealing. So I don't care. I walk in there, I put stuff in my bag, and I just do my thing. So this is a very bad, but this is showing this woman doesn't, rather than actually engage with people of different ethnicities, she's taking her talking points from somewhere else that's telling her this, that black folk get followed in the grocery store. No, we don't. I go to Sprouts, I go to Whole Foods, go to Kroger. Sometimes I go to Publix. I don't go to Publix that much. My kid goes to Publix, and we don't get followed. I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.